Hey everybody! So we're in the shop today and we're going to be working on Thundermuffin this time around. So really hasn't been on the channel that much. It was in the fluorescent engine oil video where we were trying to figure out where the leaks were coming from in the engine, but hasn't been around that much really, considering this is what got me started in Civics in the first place. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be getting this thing ready to get back on the road. At least driving more or less until we can do some more engine work on it to get it to stop smoking. Kind of in the meantime, since we made the last video with it, it's become a parts car more or less. So we'll come around to the back here. So it gave up the rear control arms for the CRX so we could use our suspension, which had the fork style rear shocks, whereas the 88s had like the, I don't exactly know what to call it necessarily, but it had a different style. So we needed to take the control arms from the CRX to get it going. It also gave up the seat for another car, but we need to get this thing back on the road because we're actually going to be moving out of this shop. So have a lot of work to do yet, getting everything packed up and ready to go. But we need to get this thing up and running again so we can drive it to the new place. So first off, let's get this kind of pushed somewhere more accessible, and maybe I'll clear off some of this stuff. It's kind of become a table since it's been sitting here. First things first, I want to get a battery tender on this thing to charge it up a little bit. It's been sitting for a long time, so get this going, get a little bit of a charge in it, and then hopefully it'll start up once we're ready for it. Alright, let's get the back end jacked up. So it's sitting really, really low with the dollies in place. So we'll get this side jacked up, and then we'll get the front side off of the dollies once we got the rear in position. Just that way, I'm worried if we get the front off the dollies, it won't be able to get the jack underneath it here, because it's basically resting on the muffler right now. So to fix the control arm situation, what I've done is I went to Amazon and I found these really, really cheap control arms. So look like they're made out of aluminum here. They have some cutouts and I already have bushings pressed in there, which is convenient. So we'll give this a shot and see how they do. It was $60 for the pair of the control arms, so hopefully they hold up. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. So I just have to go round up all of the hardware for here. I was hoping that the kit came with new hardware, but unfortunately it doesn't look like I'm going to be that lucky. So let's get this thing on the car. And I guess we're going to get it on the other side too. Let's get both of these things on the car. Gotta get this thing into position on the subframe here, and then our shock and the trailing arm, and hopefully these new polyurethane bushings, I think they're polyurethane, they might just be, no, I think they're polyurethane, probably a really cheap one, but they're probably going to bind, but hopefully they don't put up too much of a fight. Sometimes they can make it difficult to get everything lined up. Well, that's going to be a problem. Need to get the sway bar on the other side of this before we get everything in position. So, got to undo all the progress we just made, which is unfortunate because it was almost in position. Alright, round two. Here we go. Alright, sway bar on the correct side. Haha, got it. Alright, now we just got to see if we can get the trailing arm in position, which usually it works out. If you can get 2 out of the 3, the last one is going to be basically impossible to get on. So we're going to see if we can defy the odds and get this trailing arm into position.
Hopefully it will go along with things here. Looks like that's going to be a no. Oh, wait, no, getting close. Alright, so I pulled the bolt for the sway bar. I just want to test really quick that the threads are correct on this control arm, and it looks like they are. So, fortunately, I was getting a little bit worried. It said on the box 92 to 95 Civic, but I didn't think they'd be that much different. So, the online listing said it was okay, or it worked on the 88 to 91, I guess 89 to 91, but the box said something else. But it looks like it's going to work, so I just need to get this sway bar in link back here connected, and this side's going to be done, and I think that's going to be this project. So we got that project wrapped up. So now we need to go to the engine, make sure it has its fluids. Oh, and I guess we need to get some tires on here. That might be a good idea. Alright, so here we are underneath the hood. And with how much oil this thing has been leaking all over the garage, I just want to see if it has any actually left in the engine. So we'll take a quick peek here. There's actually a little bit on the dipstick there. I'm a little surprised, but let's clean it off. We'll try it again, see if that was just a false reading. Huh. So it looks like we actually have some oil in there. So where the hell did all this oil come from? But of course, in traditional Thundermuffin fashion, it threw up exactly where I plan to be working next. Now I wonder, with how long this has been sitting, if it's just all dripped to the bottom of the oil pan. So it might be that we have to turn it on and let it run for a little bit before we can say for sure if it's actually got oil in it or not. But let's get the air filter back in here. We actually took that for Banana, the CRX, for autocross. So we need to get an air filter in here really quick. So I've got a spare. It's kind of hokey, but it's what we got. So I actually pulled this intake off of another car when I bought it. So whoever had it before me did this, and it's kind of hokey. They just used the stock boot here, but then they kind of put the aftermarket Scepter stuff on it. So it's what we got. We're just going to send it the way it is. So when you come in here, you'll see there is a distinct lack of chair. So let's fix that really quick. Alright, so it turns out I picked the wrong chair actually. This is the old passenger side, I guess. So over here is the gangster chair with the permanent lane. So let's just get this thing out of here. Alright, that looks more like a chair. Kinda, I don't know, it's got sliders. With our chair in there, let's go around and see how the battery tender's doing. So it's showing us a green light, which means the battery took a charge. So all good signs there. It's been sitting for a long time, so I wasn't 100% certain it was going to be okay, but looks like we're good to go. Let's get the battery charger off of here, clean off the top really quick, and we'll see if this thing starts up. But before we do that, let's back Banana Nut out of the garage, just so if Thundermuffin blows smoke, it doesn't get oil all over the CRX, because that's not what we want to see. Alright, well I don't know what that guy died of, but hopefully it's not because of the car. Alright, Alright, so we'll give this a shot and see if it's going to turn over for us. I'm probably going to try, I don't imagine it's going to start right up, so I'm probably going to give it just a couple of bumps, get it to turn over just a couple of times, see if we can get some oil in the engine, and from there we'll see if it starts. Hopefully it does. Alright, so we got to back this up because it probably doesn't show up on camera. It's getting pretty smoky in here from all the oil, so I don't know if oil just kind of seeps into the cylinders. So we're just going to back it up, and then while the engine warms up a little bit, we'll get some air in the tires, and we'll go for a test drive, see if the control arms in the rear actually work. Alright, hopefully this thing turns on. It really doesn't like cold weather. So we'll see if we can get it to go. That's probably going to be a no.
Alright, so even though we couldn't get the compressor going, the tires are pretty close. They're just a little low, but they're not that bad. Well, you look at that. Apparently the battery is so good, it remembers the time. Get a little bit of heat in here. It's pretty chilly. That still works. That's a good sign. Well, it's making all kinds of smells, but it just drove down the road, so that's a plus. Alright, so we're cruising along here, and it seems like it's doing pretty well, actually, all things considered. I mean, it still smokes like crazy, and besides the head gasket repair, we didn't really do anything to change that, so I wouldn't have expected it sitting there to have fixed it, but one can hope. So we'll head back here. Alright, so we are back in the garage, and we got Thundermuffin kind of tucked away. So we basically got the car put together and driving, so we'll be able to get it to the new place and do some more work on it there. And hopefully we can figure out the oil burning issue. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.
See you again.